While deep in the middle of pre-production for his adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness, Mexican filmmaker Guillermo del Toro crossed paths with his old collaborator and writer Travis Beacham, who at the time was working on an original story about giant robots fighting giant monsters for Legendary Pictures. Intrigued, del Toro agreed to produce and co-write, with the added stipulation that he would be happy to direct should At the Mountains of Madness fall through. As fate would have it, this would be the case. In the following week, del Toro signed on to direct the now titled Pacific Rim, a one-of-a-kind mecha and monster-infused spectacle from one of this generation's greatest filmmakers. Following the emergence of massive alien creatures called Kaiju from a portal under the Pacific Ocean, mankind fights back with equally massive robots called Jaegers. While successful at first, the Kaiju proved too powerful, and now have humanity at the brink of extinction, forcing head of the Jaeger program stacker Pentecost to assemble what few Jaegers are left for one last-ditch effort to seal the portal. Included in the mission is Raleigh Becket, an ex-Jaeger pilot who left after the death of his brother, and Mako Mori, Pentecost's protege and adopted daughter with a tragic past who dreams of being a pilot. Together, these two must learn to trust each other and confront their pasts if they are to step into the metallic shoes of Gypsy Danger and save the world.
Come on! Let's do this together!
On paper, Pacific Rim shouldn't be as good as it is. An amalgamation of various ideas and concepts commonly found within the genre, from a narrative perspective it is all very familiar, and thus easily could have fallen into trite mediocrity. And in lesser hands this would indeed have been the case. But under the award-winning eye of Guillermo del Toro, the film is a neon-fused feast for the eyes and the heart, offering colorful, eye-catching visuals, immaculate world-building, and a jaw-dropping sense of scale that few films could ever hope to match. From its opening seconds, Pacific Rim draws you in with a prologue that's as gripping as it is efficient, effortlessly constructing a world that feels believable and lived in, while at the same time never turning away from its inherent fantasy. In fact, the film embraces the cheesy, excessive nature of the genre, relishing in the cartoony logic and broad characterizations that have always made these kinds of films so appealing. This is, of course, no surprise, as this is what del Toro has always excelled at. No matter what kind of film, the man is a master of his craft, and with Pacific Rim, he has created a wonderfully entertaining and wildly creative homage to the kinds of films that have captured the imagination of adults and kids around the world. The cast here is great all around, appropriately over the top and melodramatic, but also committed and earnest. Charlie Hunnam is solid as Raleigh, portraying an everyman wounded and without purpose who finds his calling when he meets Mako, played by Rinko Kikuchi, who is fantastic. She gives the character both a strength and vulnerability that makes her the film's most compelling character. Idris Elba is great as always as Stacker Pentecost, deftly able to convey the immense mental and emotional strain of a man carrying the fate of the world in his hands. Del Toro regular Ron Perlman makes a special appearance as Hannibal Chau, a black market dealer specializing in kaiju organs. He is easily the most eccentric character, aside from maybe Newt Geiszler, played by Charlie Day, who just may be the standout character simply by virtue of being the audience stand-in for the kaiju fan in us all.
Or awful, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Excuse him, he's a kaiju groupie, he loves
Shut up, Herman, I don't love them, okay?
From a technical perspective, Pacific Rim is unrivaled, a seamless blend of practical effects and computer animation that brings the world to life flawlessly. Both the Jaegers and the Kaiju are well-designed wonders to behold, and the fights between them are pure epic spectacle, which, under a lesser director, would be all sound and fury, but del Toro turns them into beautiful ballets of destruction that go out of their way to sell you on the sheer force of power and weight that is being thrown around. All of this is enhanced by the excellent score by Ramin Djawadi, whose fist-pumping theme for Gypsy Danger is guaranteed to get stuck in your head, and that's a good thing.
Yeah! Gypsy! Kick his ass!
All of this would be for nothing if the film was nothing more than hollow action, but Pacific Rim wears its heart on its sleeve, unafraid to have its characters emote in big, broad strokes in ways that border on the edge of being cheesy. This is very much intentional, both in regards to the genre with which it operates and the greater themes of unity and human connection the film espouses. It is only through international cooperation and the literal melding of the minds of its heroes that mankind can save itself. These are by no means new ideas, but again, under the humanistic touch of Guillermo del Toro, it works, and the result is a monster movie that is smarter than it is often given credit for.
By Jove, we are going to own this thing for sure!
Pacific Rim succeeds at everything it aspires to be. A film for anyone and everyone willing to meet it on its own terms, it is pure, unadulterated cinematic joy on the highest level. Simple, concise, and most importantly, a ton of fun. The characters are elemental but relatable, the action unmatched in its scale, and the world building is second to none, filled with a sense of childlike wonder and teeming with an attention to detail that only a director like Guillermo del Toro can bring to the table. It is as much a wildly successful original blockbuster as it is a pitch-perfect love letter to anime and the kaiju genre, one that's destined to become a classic. For more views and opinions on all things Pacific Rim, subscribe and stay tuned to Up From the Depths.
Suddenly, you can fight the hurricane. You can win.